Hi there, and welcome to a quick part two of the switching from FL Studio to Studio One video. I got a comment here on the first video, the part one, where a user named Super Pulver Toast Boy had lots of questions how Studio One compared to FL Studio on lots of different things like routing, the piano roll editing, audio slicers for playing with a keyboard, patterns, blah 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 blah. Okay, uh, I'm going into Studio One now to show you a few things. Uh, when it comes to the mixer part, one part of the question he had was if it's resizable and everything, and you can resize every single piece of this what's it called, this mixer. This, it's called the console in Studio One, and here you can see you can have them like this, or you can even uh make them so the effects show on the sides instead. So when you open a channel, you get the effects on the sides. If you got less real estate on your screens than I do, I always have it maximum size, everything showing, because I got three screens, one touchscreen down here, and then I got the monitor on the wall here and the other one here. So this is the edit window you see right now. Here you, if I create a audio track, say I just, hey, let's call it hey, and I record, hey, I need to choose the right mic. Yo, yo, yo. Yo, 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 me, 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 me. Yo, 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 me, me. And now, without changing anything in the project, I can go in here and do fine tuning to the audio. Zero crossings, finding them, whatever I want to do. So this is just for getting like very close on and edit, because in the big window, like here in the playlist, you have up here your quantize settings and everything, but the edit video window uh, has a different types of settings. So you can, let's say you use quantize times 16 in the edit window, or no quantize at all. That does not matter in the big window. So it's easy to just change screen, boom, I want to go close. Or even using things like Melodyne here. You can see it's in the edit window. It opens up. So I can just choose this, quantize tones, and go back to the playlist window. Yeah, 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 me, 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 me. And if I want that to turn into MIDI, which is also really cool about Studio One, let's say what do I want? Let's just grab something quick here. Uh, oh, there it is. I looked straight at pigments and I didn't find it. So let's say now I want to use that melody I just hummed for an instrument. I can just drag it from there, boom, and it's done. Yeah, 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 me, 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 me. Since the transients here was hard to detect. Yeah, 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 me, me. Hello. That's cool though. That's cool though. So you see, I've suddenly made it in MIDI. Let's try now to make a bass line. This is cool. You can do this in FL Studio as far as I know. Boom, boom, boom. Or you actually can if you use new tone, I guess. That's new tone. You need to open another instance. You need to save it as MIDI. It's a lot of steps. Here you just need to say, ow, wah, wah, ow, wah, 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 wow, wah. You say, ow, wah, wah. Why is there no sound? Ow, 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 ow. Let's edit that. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, it's actually the. Am I losing signal here? No, boosted it a bit. The expander, actually, the hardware expander started kicking in. So let's see. We have this. And then let's turn that into a bass line in pigments by just choosing any bass ever. Oh no, that's an arpeggiated bass. Oops. Assault. Yeah, if I then had removed this. So I should have done that to a click because that was way off. Editing piano roll is also in this edit window. The piano roll looks like this. And the great thing about this one is if you need to loop this, you need to loop in the playlist because there's, or you can also click up here and choose the loop range, but there's no patterns for melodies. And the crackling again is from the driver in OBS. So there we got a melody. The cool thing now is ghost notes in FL Studio ain't as fleshed out as this thing right here, which I'm going to show you now. Let's say I want to create multiple lines of a melody. So let's say now I want to make a melody with my melody showing. It's selectable here. And I can also change the name of the old one, call it like, see here? Let's see. If I now, come on, can I change the name? Okay, I need to change the name here, bass. Now, you see this is bass line and this is the harmony over. So if I now choose this one, and now I can edit both, but if I choose deselect the bass, I cannot edit the bass. So now I can just see it. Also, if you wish to, you could edit everything on a note sheet. If you want to. Automation. Also, there's a drum mode for this to have drums. Because all selected note, you don't need to make them short. They're actually short from the get-go. And it's for when you got things like Superior Drummer, it automatically would fill in the notes which are used and leave out the ones you can't play here with a drum mode. Let's call it drum mode. And yeah, all sorts of quantization and everything. But there's no slide notes. But when using pitch bend, it's great because it actually, you make lines instead of drawing it with those bars, those MIDI event bars. Because it's easier to actually make precise adjustments with a percentage value of something. Like if I want a smooth glide, I can change it like this, which is not possible in FL Studio where it's a you draw lines and they are like spikes. They go like ding 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 ding. You can make them. You can what's it called? Like smoothen them with the smooth tool. But I still found it hard. I always made it into automation clips. All the automation I did just to edit them easier. Here, no need for it. Aftertouch modulation, all these things. You can add a parameter from there and just go through anything you want on the instrument and add it to the line down here very easily by just clicking the right mouse button or the ... over there. Yeah, of course you can have more than one, so you can choose to see the velocity and the pitch bend at the same time if you want to. How many can you have? As many as you wish, I think. There's probably a cap, and that is how much screen real estate you have. Also, the key switches is great if you got instruments that have key switches, because you can actually add presets like the Nova Low here, and the different keys for the key switches here will be let's open the preset again. Will be listed here. So if I just click, let's say I want a didn't I save it? Okay, thank you. Here, so I can choose between piccato, staccato, and marcato. I think that's the way it's said. Now, of course, since this is Pigment's a soft synth, that's not gonna happen. But if you use contact libraries or East-West libraries or anything like Spitfire, these are great for controlling your key switch and instantly seeing what the key switch does, because you have already saved them with presets. So for instruments you use a lot, strings, everything, just add everything here as key switches, and it's a lot easier to keep track of everything. Delete. Other than that, let's see. Note controller, pitch, yeah, all this kind of stuff. Other than that, automation is, if you got a fader port like I do here. I don't know if you can see it for real. See barely a few faders here. These fader ports are like designed to work with on Studio One. I mean, like the FL Studio Fire, which I also have, but this one is, I would say, a lot more useful, because the faders are just so great. Because often I found that I didn't use the FL Fire for the pattern mode, and I don't need a keyboard. I got 88 keys right here. And I know how to play them. So, what the FL Studio Fire had was a few knobs, but still, you can't control things as precisely with the knobs as you can here. Let's say I want to edit a plugin. Okay, so let's go here. Let's say I want to add a EQ, a stock EQ, straight out of Studio One, and I want to control this one, the high band frequency gain. Okay, I don't need to click anything easily, because on my fader port here, it's already assigned. So when I move, if you can see it here, it's moving when I'm moving my mouse. So it's totally linked. So if I do this, and when you then automate something, you can use all parameters and all fingers and just get it the way you want it to. Feel the flow. And that's also great with the way the automation buttons work, because if you see up here, you got read, touch, latch, and write. Touch, latch, and write are for adding automation. Read is for reading. Off is just turning off the automation tracks you have. So let's see for Pigments here. Let's say I wish to automate the volume of that track in the mixer, I can click here, touch, latch, or write. The difference is touch is when you touch a parameter, it will automate the parameter until you let it go. So if you click it with the mouse, let's try that. And let's just record something here. You see? You see this one. Woo! Yay! But yeah, when you click it with the mouse, when you run the song and it's on touch, when you click it, it will react, and then when you remove it, it continues with the old thing. If you choose another one, let's say latch, nothing happens until you click it, and then it just records everything from that point as what you set it to be. Write continuously writes everything. You don't need to click it. You don't it just records how it's right now. And I just love the touch and the latch. Like here I can use the fader port to just choose touch, and then I just use the faders. Let's say a vocal part is too loud, I just turn it up. Also, if I want to edit this and say I want to get jiggy with it, I just choose a part here, let's say this one, and I want to invert or skew the whole thing. You can edit automation with the transform tool, so you can make it smaller to fit in. Let's say you did too big, you want the same kind of automation, but you don't want it as loud, you can just make it like it doesn't have to react that hard. Or you maybe want more, let's got it like this. Or maybe you want to invert it and have it upside down or whatever. You can do crazy stuff with that. Also for drawing, you can draw saw waves, you can draw lines, squares. Like often I use for, let's say you want to automate some panning. Let's say I just want to add some automation here for panning. And now all I needed to do was to add a pan by touching a pan parameter, or you can also add them by going into automation here and add, remove automation, and you can choose all, as you see, all the different types here, all the parameters. But let's say now I want a smooth pan automation going on like this. Boom. Suddenly I have a pan going on. Oh, that was quick. And also, if I say, it's too fast, let's say I want this, but I want it slower, you can just drag it out. Bloop. These events, there's a lot about them too I could talk about, but let's see what some more questions was from this guy. Yeah. Fast options like stretching stuff and such things. Yeah. FX routing is a bit limited. You do have the ability to add, let's say we add an EQ and we go in here. You do have the ability to add lots of splitters where you can split by channel or normal or by frequency. And then you can add some parallel compression, parallel whatever. Parallel. Can't talk right now. So you can add splitters inside of splitters and more splitters and just go crazy with them to make some complex change. But you can't make feedback loops like in Patcher. So it doesn't beat Patcher at all. Other than that, let's say I need to check one more time here. It was, yeah, pattern-based production. You can make drum patterns, and yeah, let's check that out. If I add a impact, which is here, let's add this one. Okay. Now I can add, instead of adding a normal pattern here, where it's a normal event, and when you go outside that, you need to duplicate it to get more of them. I can make patterns, which is a different mode, where if you see the screen here, where's the button? Instruments here. Insert pattern or convert part to pattern. So let's say I turn the part into a pattern. Now it's a pattern, and like in FL Studio, you can add a bass drum here and a snare drum and bam and bam. You can also have these extra settings for repeat delay. This is the shift function in FL Studio. That's delay. So you can delay it to be late or be early. And you also got a probability here, which is if that's at a 50%, you get a 50% chance that that hit will hit. So if you want to randomize some hi-hat stuff to not make it the same every time and not want to make it different manually, you can just use the probability. Let's say you got a 50% probability for one hit in this hi-hat loop. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. Repeat is for making probability 100, please. For making notes repeat quickly. Velocity, of course, it's velocity. You can also, as with the other modes, you can choose any sort of pitch envelope or whatever and automate it here, like in FL Studio, by pattern, by with blocks. So this is editing per hit in this pattern. The words are stopping me. Yeah. So on this snare drum, this automation is going on. Also, you can solo different parts of the pattern or repeat, like having some parts of the pattern repeat more than other parts. Like, let's say I want the bass drum here to hit every one beat. You can do that by having steps down on only, say here, you get how many steps is in a pattern. And then when you choose here, you can choose only, let's say every 4. Or every 1/8, let's say we got 60 and then we got only 4 bars. So now it hits every by just having it here. So if I want now to make a hi-hat, close hi-hat, and we want that to hit often, we can just do this. Like that. Yeah, you get swing, accent. Accents are when you click Control and you place a note, you get an accented note. So a note would just the volume percentage you choose here. So if I had a kick here and I want to add another one, that will be an accented kick by the percentage you choose here. Yeah, step record is cool if you want to do that. Step record is recording. If I want to record, let's say pigments here, and I want to do a step record, that will be the same as recording every, like, is good to use in this mode and also in this mode, because if I play now, if I record something here with a step mode on, enable. Every time I hit some note, it just adds one. I'm pressing the keyboard right now, so it adds a note in that with that note length. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, making patterns like this into or melodies like this into files, wave files, transform to audio track, and preserve instrument track state. You can render with inserts, because now it will preserve the audio, but it will not render the whole mixer track. So if you have an effects on, they will just be added to the audio. And also you preserve the instrument track state. So if I save this now, you see the MIDI notes behind the audio here. So now you can edit it like it's an audio track. But if you want to, you can just transform to instrument track again, or just abort the whole thing, like boom, and it's back. So you don't remove the instrument, you just consolidate it and have it in the same track for what's it called, organization purposes. Other than that, yeah. If you want kicks, snares, stuff, let's go here to splice. I'm gonna splice right now, and let's just find a kick. Boom, here's a kick. So you can place it out like in the playlist in FL Studio. And if you want to change all these kicks out, let's say you want to change one, you can just drag one over the other. Let's say I want to change it with another kick. I can just place it over. Or I can replace all the kicks with a new one, like I did right now. Shut up. Boom. Also, for every event like this is, you can use the transpose function. For every single piece of audio here, you don't need to do it for everyone. Every instance of the same drum here is independent. You also got the gain envelope if you want to do some fine adjusting of the wave shape. Let's say you want to do that. Let's just bypass that stuff. Also, yeah, you can choose which tracks to view. Buenas. Yeah, but you can't edit these any more than this unless you use like a impact, or if you want to have an 808, you need to use the sample one. This is the sampler in Studio One. Oops. And if we add, let's say we add a 808 here. Let's just add this one. Okay. Now we can also loop for sustained notes. So let's say I'm sustaining the note. Come on. And then I need to find a zero crossing. I should zoom in to find it. Say I find this one. Okay. Then find the first one. I think that might work. So if I now sustain the note, almost. I need to use crossfades. It's because it's louder in the start, so you need to. And then you can have it to on release. One shot trigger. And now you can use the glide effect in the sampler of FL Studio. And in this sampler also you can very easily place, like this sample was meant to be played in C, so let's say C3 is the root of this one, and if you go below that you can find another sample and place that in here to replace a certain key on your keyboard with that key instead. And then let's turn up a release. Yeah, that's interesting. So that's how you would make glide notes generally in Studio One. Or just having a. Oh, let's turn off the. So that's so easy. Here's the mapping. You can see where the sample is set to play and the envelopes, and you can record your own stuff. Let's say you want to record a sample from the mic right now. Hey. Bam, it's a sample. So I can now choose that to play at a certain note or whatever. It says C1, only played on C1. I can go that low even. It's there. Hey. If you want to do that, you can also turn vocal chops very easily into vocals into vocal chops very easily. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. And again, if you want to automate anything, just choose here, touch, let's say. And if I now play a song, play this, and I move this, boom, it's already recorded. But it's recorded on touch. So if I don't touch it, nothing is recorded. And then I touch it, it's recording. It turns off recording the second I release it. Boom, boom. And if I want to turn off this automation, I can just click here, boom, and it's off. Now it's just bypassed. Or I can also choose the whole track to read. Or off. Now all automation for this sample one instance here is off. Now when it's read, you can turn off every single one here. Comping is also interesting in Studio One. If I choose to record, let's say, yo, I gotta do it again. Yo. Nah, again. Yo. Yo. Okay, come on. Yo. Okay, which one of these was best? And I can just drag here, choose a part of this one. Okay, I want a part of this one. Okay. Yo. Click X for crossfading between all of them, choosing the crossfade size. Yo. Yo. Okay, that was whack. I used this. Yo. You can also choose to boom, exchange with a whole. Or the best thing also is to listen just to individual takes by soloing in them. So you don't need boom to actually place it. Place your comp in here to destroy the one you already made. You can just listen to another take and be like, yo. Is this better? Yo. Is this better? Yo. Maybe that one. And then you figure out, okay, I want just this one. Fuck everything else. And then we want to fade. Want to fade out on this too. Boom. And then yo 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 yo. Boom. So all of these features compared to FL Studio, uh, the only bad thing is that it takes a bit more time to get your 808s and drums going. Because you don't have you can't just drag in samples and just place them straight in the pattern. You first need to open an impact, and then if you don't want to record anything, you can't just have a macro made like I have, which is called pattern, and you make a pattern, and then you can start creating your drums. You just need to put your drums samples inside here, and you can edit every single one of them. It's like the FPC in FL Studio. Other than that, Studio One doesn't have flex. It has presence, which just has tons of sounds. It has 2 synths. So on the pure what's it called? On the pure VST side, FL Studio has been around for way longer and has a bigger library of stuff. The Ampire, the guitar add-on for Studio One is a lot better than I think Hardcore is, because Hardcore, I don't like it. It's not good, but Empire here actually is pretty decent. It's not it's not like best with the most add-ons like Guitar Rig or Bias FX or all these other ones. But there's quite a few to choose from, and they sound a lot better than the one in Hardcore in FL Studio. Hardcore is like I used it in the start, like many years ago, and then when I wanted real sound, I got rid of it as quick as I could, because Hardcore does not sound good for like it doesn't sound legit when you want to play guitar. You can edit through here. You can edit all sorts of things for your samples that you place inside uh, the grid, or inside the grid, inside the playlist. You have your gain, you got your fade in, your fade out, normalize, blah blah blah, which is the same settings as you have here. But then you have the event effects. You can also just drag any effect you want onto a sample here and click Alt. Boom. Now this sample has delay on it, but no other has. You can see it here that the delay I added, this one, is here on the event, only this event. So this one, the other one right over here, it does have no effects on it, but this has. That's great for doing stuff like if you want to use RX. Let's say you got the RX bundle from Isotope, and you want to do some declicking or whatever, you can just boom, place it on the recording itself, so you can just render it with that effect. Boom. Now it's rendered with deplosive or declick or whatever I clicked. Or you can just EQ one phrase or a word in without making that word go to another part of the mixer, or automate something in the mixer. So you can just edit the waveform, edit the actual file straight out. You just choose Empire, let's say, and you just render it with it. Boom. And then also you can use that for making effects like reverse, rewords, or anything. Now, that's a cool effect. That's actually quite cool. Just lots of distortion on the kick, reversing it, and then That's interesting, actually. Let's just interesting. Ooh. And if you check my mixer here out, you got a separate section for outputs, and these are the main out and the listen bus. The listen bus is so you can listen with room correction. You can listen with things like I have the subwoofer here controlled by a Pipeline XT plugin, so I can turn on and off the subwoofer in the software without having to reach down under the table. Um, I also have different sets of effects and spectralizers and everything like the mid range here, the EQ, which I turn on. I don't want this to be on the actual master, so then when I export it to a client, it suddenly has phase issues or anything because I had a lot of EQs or I had room correction on. No, you have your own listener bus for that, and that's really great. So you can add lots of effects to the listening bus, so you hear it. Let's say your room has an error and you want to add a EQ like this one, just to not just hear the mid range like I did here, but you want to correct an error in like 200 hertz resonance in your room. You can then be sure that every time you render your project, you don't need to go, oh shit, I forgot to turn off the 200 thing, because it's always off. Q mixes. Now, this is FL Studio lacking hardcore. Like the Q mixes here, they are great. Like Q mixes are the best. Um, if you see the monitor here, that's for monitoring people in the booth behind me. And when that is turned on, and also the preamp and everything is turned on, they will hear themselves, and I will hear them all the time, no matter what's going on. And I have a standard mix, and I usually play them pretty loud. But the great thing about Q mix is that let's say they want the beat lower. I also have a touchpad, like touchpad, a some touchpad. No, it's not a touchpad. Come on, what's it called? A tablet device in the booth, so they can edit the Q volumes with the Studio One remote. The Studio One remote beats the FL Studio remote hands down. It's a lot better. It's actually usable for more than just MIDI control. You can see the project, you can see the mixer, and you can actually stand in the booth, or let's say you record in a different room. It's so easy to do your whole session or even your mixing on that app, the Studio One remote. It's great. Uh, in the booth, they might want to hear the beat lower or higher depending on the person. So let's say here I choose the booth. Now I use the fader port for it, but it's the button here, the booth Q mix. So you can turn down the volume for a certain mixer track only for the person in the booth. I did this in FL Studio by routing stuff, and it was such a hassle because if you want to lock everything to, like, if you want now the people in the booth to hear exactly what you hear, you can just click the lock icon. In FL Studio, I routed the mic to their recording bus. Like first I had mic input on a different mic bus, and then I sent that bus into another listening bus, and then I added every channel into the master and into the listen, which went into two different outputs. And on the booth output, if I wanted to change anything, I had to find the channel they wanted to turn down. I had to turn down the routing wire thing in FL Studio, and then if I wanted it to go back to normal, you just couldn't, or you could, but it takes a lot of time. Here, you can just edit just the booth mix, or you can even edit the main room and any sort of mix here. It just edits what they hear in their ears, and then you can bring it back to the same volume as you have um, on your own stuff, like you hear out here. So I can also, with the low latency monitoring, I can listen to the whole mix with the FX by turning off this C right here. So I hear it with all the delay, but the guy in the booth, because the booth output is with the what is it called, low latency monitoring on, the guy in the booth listens to it real time with all the heavy effects turned off. I can sit here listening to it with the effects on while they record. So I hear it delayed, but that doesn't matter because I'm not recording. I'm just listening. Uh so yeah, I also have a sometimes my like, let's say you have a client and the client really wants to hear some more sub. I got a separate here fader for the subwoofer. So when some trappers in here and they want to hear their beat banging, I just zoop, zoop, and the sub is really kicking. And let's say I want to focus in on an issue and don't want to be drowned out as bass, I can turn it a bit down maybe, or just turn it back to normal. So yeah, Q mixes are like, for everything I found out in Studio One here, that compared to FL Studio when it comes to mixing and recording people, everything is so much easier. And I've said that in part one too, but the Q mix and low latency monitoring and Melodyne editing and everything is just so great. For beat making, it's hard to beat the lifetime free updates from FL Studio and all the great plugins they have. But I have no problems making beats in Studio One, and it's great for if you want to do less loop based music. Like sometimes I go back to FL Studio to make a trap beat, but if you want to make a more, what's it called, fluent song, like that it doesn't stay static and it includes a lot of live recordings, it's better to just use Studio One. Uh, yeah, other things. Is there anything else? I actually think I've talked way too long. But yeah, you got the post and pre-fader options on every output. You also got mixed effects, which is distortion and stuff like that. That adds, the way it works is, instead of adding the effect to the bus, let's say now I have it on the master bus, instead of adding this effect with a noise or crosstalk or drive to the master, it adds it to every single channel that's connected directly to the master without a bus in between. So if I turn on crosstalk here and noise, you can see all the different channels of the mixer got a little bit of noise on them. So now if I load a fab filter, you can see noise, and it's on every single channel, so it builds up. So it's to emulate a real console, using a real console here. Uh, so yeah, boost. So crosstalk is that signal interferes. So if you use a drum bus and you have crosstalk on, it will bleed over to create a effect, so that if you have uh, lots of crosstalk, you can suddenly get all the different drum noises to blend in all the different channels, like it most likely would back in the day. So to create bleed, if you want to. probably don't most of the time, but sometimes you just, yeah, you feel like doing it. It can also have a cool effect on chorus, like if you not chorus but choir vocals. Like if you have a lots of vocals and you edit them all differently, and then you add some crosstalk, so all the 10 vocals you did go first out their own mixer bus, but then crosstalks and crosses into different ones, and then just messes things up, and it can sometimes thicken up the choir sound a bit by making it seem like there's more voices because the EQ, suddenly you got the bleed that goes to the channels to the next, some channels to the right and to the left, and they get processed differently, so it just changes the thing. Let's say you had delay on some of them, and suddenly you got, it sounds like a few more voices, even though they are very low in volume. And yeah, patterns, I forgot to show. When you have a pattern like this set up, with the settings here, that one has just 4 beats. Or 4 steps, I mean. You can then drag it out here, and it just continues to go. And let's say I want this pattern to change right here. I can just double click it, go into pattern mode. And let's say I want another variation right here. I can just click add variation, or now I just duplicated this one. And let's say this variation I want double kick. And then I want it to turn back to the one I had previously, right here. Boom. Then you can choose between the variations by just clicking down here. The normal one and the so yeah, now I showed a lot of stuff and rambled a lot, but now I need to get some work done, so I can't do this again. Thank you for your time and have a great day. Finally, this what's it called? Lifted the cloud on, not misconceptions. Lifted the clouds on the questions. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you get the idea. Now you know a lot more on what is different between FL Studio and Studio One. And yeah, one final thing. When it comes to routing, you can here choose to here you can see the side chains, and you can sidechain anything just by clicking. Let's see, I open a fab filter again. Clicking here, sidechain, and choose whatever, and it's done. Sidechaining is super quick. Send chains of effects. Let's say I want a plate verb here. I can just boom, drag this here, drag this there. Let's say I want these effects here. I can just drag everything everywhere. Like if you ever want to copy an effect or anything, you just drag it. Everything is just drag it. Drag, drag, drag. In FL Studio, you have to click a button and then save mixer state as, I think, and then drag it to where you want it. So it's a bit slower. Here you can just mark all these, drag these, boom. Effects on all. It's so quick. And yeah, also with the reverb here, if I want reverb on all of these, I can just boom. The only problem I found, which isn't that much of a problem, is that when I haven't found a way to send something to a reverb before, like the fruity send. Fruity send, you can suddenly send a signal mid processing to anywhere else. Fruity send is great because you can just place it anywhere in the chains. Let's say I have something here, and I add a. If I could add a splitter here, and that splitter would suddenly have a option here to send to a totally different channel, like suddenly send it to the guitar bus or whatever you want it to. That you can do with a fruity send, and you cannot do it in Studio One. There is no way I found of doing such advanced routing. Also, you cannot route reverbs back into other tracks, but you can add them into buses. So I can take this plate reverb and add a bus for it. So let's say I add a bus, reverb bus. And here, this goes into now the reverb, and the reverb is here. Now from here, I can send it back to side chains or into another bus or anything. But I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Yeah. You cannot make a output like a buzz go back into an insert or what's it called, a track. So if I get a vocal track with effects on it, I can't send another track to and bus and then send it to that vocal track. Instead, if I have a vocal track with the effects I need, I can just click. Basically, you have to click on the track right here, and you just click and duplicate track. And then it has all the effects on. It's so easy to copy effects that I never felt the need to send multiple takes of a vocal to the same track. Like in FL Studio, you take lots of vocals and you place them all in track 1 or mixer track 1 because you want the same effects on all the vocals and you don't want to you haven't recorded in one line, you recorded some here, some there, and you just place everything on the same. The way you would do that here, I would rather mix every single individually, and you can group them and edit. Let's say you edit one of them, you add an effect here, and you I want this EQ curve. Then you can just boom, drag it over, and let's say you get 10 of these. Let's just duplicate these two. Now I got 4 of these, and let's say I add a new effect, and I just like maybe I want this on all these. You just boom, and it's done. It's on all. And then you just add a bus for them, bus 1, and in this bus, you can add bus upon bus upon bus upon bus. It doesn't really matter. And here you can send it to effects, or you can also add effects to buses if you need more routing power. So let's say I add a bus here, and then I can add on the bus, or actually here I could not send it to another bus. Really? I didn't know that. That's another way you are limited. Because here you can add a bus for the select channel. But you can also add it as a bus as a send. So you can add buses as sends. So you can send to a certain bus and then use that bus for an effect, which you then sends from that effect into plate verb or whatever else. But I see now you can't add a bus to a bus. I actually didn't know that. That just means I haven't had the use for it. I never needed it. That's the thing. If you don't actually need a thing, you won't find out it isn't there. But yeah, I think that completes everything. And it's great. Oh, one last thing. The one thing I was going to talk about, which I forgot, talking about all this drag and drop. The one thing I actually looked for in FL Studio, and I think I even asked to get it implemented. Here's all the instruments that's active. And instruments are in low latency. That's the C. This one is huge. Scenes, mixer scenes. I really wanted FL Studio to have a way to save my mixer settings so that when I went back into the mix and changed everything, I could go back instead of saving like project better drums, project like 1,000 projects with the same shit. just different drum mixes. Here, no need. You just add this to a mixer scene and you call the scene like good drums. And then you change everything, blah 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 blah, and then suddenly the client comes and says, "Oh, all your changes is good, but the way you changed the beat volume wasn't good." Okay. Then I select this channel. I load the good drum. You see that? I loaded the good drums mix, and only that channel goes back because you choose the recall options down here. Selected channels only. So I recall only selected channels. Let's say I want to change these back. Boom! And let's say then I have 4 different mixes. So let's say I got good drums and then I have like no drums. This. Choose no drums. And then I can choose between them. Like, no drums, but these drums was good. Yeah, keep it like this. And it goes for, now also it works with automation. It works with the volume. You can choose here and see everything you wanted to work on. Even insert. So let's say I suddenly find out, oh, okay, I want to remove all these plugins. Then after a while you find out, oh shit, the mix I had was good. Boom. You get all the plugins back too. So you don't need to change anything. And check this out. This thing just blew my mind. When I found out this stuff, like, woo! If FL Studio had this, check this out. This is so insane. Let's see here. I have now, open in this window, I have a song I did for somebody. And let's say I go to the song here, the song file. You can open any song file that's done in Studio One and see all the tracks, see all the performance attachments or presets you use on that track. So let's say I open a track and I choose like, I like the monitor mix on this one. You can just add that track to your project and it will opening, with the exact same settings as you had in that song. It will even open with the recordings of that song. Monitor Mix has no recordings, of course, but here you can see it. And this was the settings I used for that song. Ooh, heavy high-end boost. Boom! Suddenly I imported something from another track. So let's say I want to have the backing on the chorus that was done for that track. Let's say another beat, I did a piano track that was cool. You can add here. Check this out. Suddenly I imported a part. Wait a second. I imported a part here with the Melodyne settings. Saucy. Straight in from another song. And I've even used that sometimes where a client comes back and he'll like, oh, I want that, you know that sound we had in that other song? And I'm like, yeah. Normally in FL Studio, I would be like, oh, I don't want to go back and find that sound and then bring it back in. I don't want, please, I'm begging you. I don't want to do that. That takes a lot of time. Here, you don't only get the recordings from the other song, you also get all the settings you used on that track for that song. Boom! That's so insane. So let's say you're doing beats and you're like, oh shit, the drums I did on that beat last week was so dope. I wish I could get them. You need to open the project, you need to save the drums, and then you need to remix them. Blah, 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 blah. Here, no. You can just open the whole, even the whole project and load every single track just by choosing more than one. So I can choose the beat and the monitor track here. Boom, drag it in. And it loads. Now it suddenly loads the beat of that song with a mix. It's just insane. That's such a great. Oh shit, I'm being late. I gotta go. But yeah, that feature, it's in Logic Pro too. But if you don't have a Mac, you go Studio One instead of Logic Pro. I'm just telling you. Yeah, importing parts of other songs. Like, let's say you did a mix and you didn't save it as a preset. You can just drag it straight in and you can see if it fits. Did a great reverb? Just drag in just the reverb. Like, if FL Studio has that now, which it doesn't because I've just seen the video and the new 20 point something something 20.8. Well, it doesn't have it. I'm just saying it doesn't have that kind of uh that sort of feature, and it's just such a great feature. Also, the chord track is great because let's say I have a beat right here and I want to know the chords of it. I can just detect chords, and boom, the chords are now listed up here. And by using something called chord follow, you can actually play something on a keyboard that's totally unrelated. You just smash the keyboard and then you choose chord follow, and it will turn what you played into the nearest chord of the chord track. Also, the arranger is cool, which is not in FL Studio, where I can choose, let's say, I have a chorus part, intro part right here, and I got a verse part right here. And then I got a chorus. And let's say I want two choruses on the end of the song. Boom! It just copied everything. And then you can use the lock track option, like right here, to avoid things being like, let's say you only want to copy all the vocals on the chorus. You can just choose like the beat and you can choose lock beat and then move the chorus. Boom! And the beat stays in place, but it moves the chorus part of it. So yeah, unlock it. Like every time I'm saying this, I'm done. I just come up with new features that's I didn't know of when I changed into Studio One, but the longer it goes, the more intrigued I am by the features. Also, the inputs are here. I need to stop now. But you can see the inputs. You can edit the input gain of every input or add effects if you want to record with, let's say, auto tune to have it on the like. Sometimes you just want the auto tune to be on everything, and you don't want 10,000 auto tune instances. You want to record it as it is. I usually don't because most of the time, sometimes auto tune messes up, chooses the wrong note or something, and then yeah, don't like that. But you could use it for whatever. So here you got all the inputs. Last thing then, which FL Studio should have had, like for real, they should be adding something like this. When I go to my song setup here, you got my audio in out, and you can. Here's my Focusrite and my Ultra Gain box for extra inputs. You can see here, I've some of the inputs I've routed and I've given them names. So if I connect something to the ADAT input of Ultra Gain 1, I know it's on there. So if I add here, let's say I connect a mic to the back of the studio here. I can just add here and choose back. Then I know that's the input on the wall behind me. Back to two also. Or you can add outputs. You can record outputs into Studio One again, and you can record tracks. So you can have a track as an input for another track, just in case. You also have. It's also great that you have recording. You can choose what's it called? Audio. Pre-record audio input. There's 1 minute of pre-recording. In FL Studio, you got if you record MIDI, if you just play, you can dump score to MIDI with a tool box or the tool settings, and you can choose dump score to MIDI, and then you can get everything you played into the playlist, so you don't lose what you improvised. Here, if you just have this ARM, but you aren't, but let's say you were recording, what am I trying to say right now? Yeah, if you haven't armed it yet, let's say I'm recording right now, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to record. If I now drag this backwards, let's say I use my mic, I'm like recording, and I'm like, yeah, oh no, I forgot to record, and you like, turn on record, and then it's like, everything is there. Oh god, yeah. So because every mic input is recorded 1 minute back in time. So in case you didn't record that performance, just hit the record button on that track before you end the recording here. So I can go for a whole 10 seconds. Let's say, oh yeah. No, I messed up. Let's say I do it like this. Yo, I'm back with the show. Everybody gonna go do whatever. And then you're like, oh no, I didn't record that part. I got it. And then you tell your client like, I wasn't going to record this time. We were just going through rehearsal, but that take was good, so I kept it. Yo, whatever. Now I'm done. This was way too long. It was going to be a short, like 5 minute video. But once started, so much things to talk about. So it's a part 2 at least for those who have seen part 1 and were interested enough to actually get through this thing. So thank you for your time. See you another day.